Hi friends, hello, welcome to Books and Crafts. My name is Martina, and in today's video I would like to talk about 10 books that I still want to read in 2022 that I think might be 5 stars. So I want to kind of check if I know my reading tastes, and in a few months or maybe early in 2023 I would do like a comparison video to see whether first of all I got to those books, and second if they were in fact 5 stars. And so I have 10 books, 5 of them are self-published fantasy and 5 of them are traditional published fantasy. I would really want to get to some more self-published fantasy. And so without further ado, I think I will just start with this category. So the first self-published fantasy book that I want to talk about that I think might be 5 stars for me is Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. Now this is, I believe, the first of his companion novels in a series called The Mortal Techniques, and I've heard so many great things about it. First of all, I adore the cover so much. I definitely would love to get a physical copy of this one, but I've heard that it is fast-paced, that it has some really interesting concepts, that it reads like watching anime feels. And so this is an Asian-inspired book, and from what I know about the synopsis, we are following an 8-year-old boy who gets an almost impossible task from the god of death, which is to kill the immortal emperor. Now, in order to help him with this task, he gets the ability to bind to himself some of the world's most powerful warriors. The only catch is that for him to bind the warriors to him, the warriors first have to die. And so this concept sounds super interesting. I definitely will get to it very soon. It is quite short. I think it is not much more than 200 pages, so it should also be a quick read. The next book that I definitely would love to get to, and that I think might be a 5-star read, is Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. I have been hearing a lot about this book, and most of it really good. I've heard some really great reviews. I believe Patrick from the channel Patrick Leo loves this book so much. And so this is supposed to be a medieval inspired fantasy in which 4 young people start to develop some supernatural abilities, and they also start having the same recurring dream of some kind of ethereal gate. And I hear there is a lot of themes about religion, about... Look who's here! Look who's here! Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi? Is it a puppy break now? Sushi? Oh, yay! No? This is my Chihuahua. Her name is Zuzia, and she definitely loves to explore my room when I am filming. So just a little puppy break, and she's off. she just needed to check if everything was all right here. So anyway, I hear there is a lot of themes about religion, politics, some kind of religious persecution. This sounds really interesting. I think it's also supposed to be character driven, which is my jam, so I'm very excited to get to this one. A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah is my next 5-star prediction, and not just because of this beautiful cover. I love this cover so much, and I've also saw the physical hardcover where the art is actually printed directly on the cover, which I love. It's stunning, looks like gives me such autumn vibes, and this one sounds so interesting. So from what I've heard about this, it's supposed to be set in a world where death means shame and grief is not allowed. And so we are following a few perspectives, if I am correct, and there is supposed to be themes of belonging, of sacrifice, and perhaps resurrection. This is kind of the vibe that the synopsis is giving me, so I don't know much more. I do really love going to my books not knowing that much about them, but what I know sounds excellent. The next one is one that I'm sure most of you guys have heard about, and I'm putting it in the self-published category because it was at first self-published, but it has since been picked up by the traditional publisher Tor, I believe, and this is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, and I believe the traditional published version is supposed to be available in November this year. So this is supposed to be a cozy fantasy, high fantasy, low stakes. It's about an orc who decides to change her life and resign from the life of war and instead open a coffee shop. This sounds so cute, this sounds amazing, but I also heard that there are some really great themes of friendship and loyalty and kind of finding yourself and being yourself when the world pretty much expects you to be one thing but you really want to go into a different direction. So this sounds absolutely lovely, and I think I'm going to pick this one up around maybe autumn because it really does sound like it would work well with the cozy autumn vibes. And the last self-published book on this list is the one that I have a physical copy of, and it is The Sword of Kaigen by ML Wang. Now, this has been on my radar for such a long time, and so this is an Asian-inspired fantasy with themes of war, with themes of family and motherhood, with themes of propaganda. I heard that the author took an interesting turn with the narrative where they decided not to follow the three-act structure, but instead the climax of the story happens somewhere in the middle of the story, and then we deal with the aftermath of it, and it sounds incredible. It's supposed to be very emotional. I've heard a lot of reviews when people said they cried reading this, and I am so ready. I have been loving Asian-inspired books, and so I definitely can't wait to pick this one up. And now for the second category, I have 5 traditionally published books, and the first one isn't out yet but is going to be out very soon, and that's Babel by R.F. Kuang. Now this book, I am so excited about this. This is supposed to be like a literary fantasy dark academia novel which is focused on language and translation, and it's supposed to be beautiful and heartbreaking, and I cannot wait. I really love the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang, and I'm very excited to see this kind of different, not a different genre perhaps, because this is still supposed to be fantasy, but just a different setting and a different type of a novel from her, and I am positive this is going to be 5 stars. The next one, I am going to cheat just a little bit because most of the other books, or all of the other books on this list, are first books in a series or standalones. This one is actually the second book in a series, and this is The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. And I am cheating just a little bit because I also have the first book, Grace of Kings. This is the first book of the Dandelion Dynasty. But why I decided to pick this second book is because I have heard a lot of reviewers say that this first book is actually kind of like a prequel to this story, and that this story gets so much more epic and so much more wider in scope and so much better as the books progress. So I am choosing book 2. I've also heard people say that this particular book is their favorite book of the year so far. The series has been definitely getting a lot of buzz on booktube recently, so I can't wait to pick this up myself. And from what I know about the series, the Dandelion Dynasty, this is supposed to be a retelling of actual historical events from the history of China. Now, I decided not to dig into this too deep because I didn't want to be spoiled for the story, so I may do some kind of research after I've read this. But in the first book, we are following 2 characters. One is a bandit, and the other one is a son of a deposed duke, and they become unlikely friends. However, when the emperor dies or the emperor is murdered, not sure about the details here, they find themselves on the opposite sides as leader of the opposite political factions. And so this is again supposed to be very political, but I do really love political fantasy, and also these covers are just so gorgeous. I am so excited to get to this one. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden is another one that I think I'm going to give 5 stars. Now I am planning to read this more towards winter, towards the end of the year, because I hear this has sublime winter cold vibes, and we are going through heat wave right now, and I wouldn't like the atmosphere to be lost on me. But this is book 1 in the Winter Night trilogy, and from what I know about this is a Russian folklore inspired story, again very cold, very wintry setting, and we are following Vasya, whose mother dies and her father remarries, and the woman that he remarries, her stepmother, is a very devout religious person, and she forbids Vasya and her family from honoring the spirits that have been pretty much the part of Vasya's lives. And I believe the moment the family stops honoring the spirits, things start to happen, and I don't know more. I know a lot of people love Vasya, that for a lot of people she is an amazing character, and I think this is like a whimsical, magical read with beautiful prose, with again themes of religion, and it certainly sounds like something I would love. And the next one on my list is The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. Again, this is one of these books that have been on my radar and my TBR for such a long time that I am sure I'm going to love, but for some reason I haven't picked up yet. So I hope with this list I'm going to kind of motivate myself to pick them up this year. So this is a story of Loch Lamora. I love the alliteration of the title, by the way. The Lies of Loch Lamora just swims so beautiful, love it. So we are following Loch Lamora, who is an orphan, and he has been taken under tutelage of a con artist and becomes a thief himself. So I believe this is a heist story. I believe we are going to see a beautiful friendship between the characters in this one. I believe Log is a very smart character, which I love reading about smart characters, and everything about this book just sounds fantastic. If I am not mistaken, I might be, so please don't quote me on that, but I think maybe even the setting is like a Venice style city with canals, and this is something I absolutely love, so definitely getting to this one soon. And the last one that sounds so intriguing for me is Master of Sorrows by Justine Ticot. I'm sorry, I hope you guys can see it with the lights reflecting off this beautiful cover, but this is supposed to be a villain origin story. So the vibes that I got from the synopsis are that we are subverting the trope of the chosen one, of the boy who has power and has an old wise mentor, but instead of using the power for good, he uses it for evil, which sounds fascinating. I love villain origin stories. I think they are so full of nuance. I love reading about the reasons why the characters turn into evil instead of good. And I also heard that in this world magic is actually forbidden, and also I believe the main character deals with a disability, and because disabilities are also forbidden in this world or looked down upon, he uses this forbidden magic to kind of cover it and to help him get through in this world. I believe this is a start of a very long series. From what I know, only 2 books are out for now, but This sounds fascinating, and so I'm definitely going to be getting to this one very soon. And that was all of the books that I had to talk about today. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you've read any of those. Were they 5 stars for you or lower? Did you like them? What did you think about them? I would love to know, and I would love it if you subscribe to my channel and liked this video, and I will be back very soon with the next one. Bye guys!